Okay, I just want to share my thoughts on death. Seems like my mind has been spiraling around death these last couple weeks, and I'm just going to say what's on my mind. Now, when I started out the path toward enlightenment, I went on YouTube and I looked at all the stories that I could find about people that have reached their realization, and compiling these stories, it seems overwhelming that it's just accepting your death at the fullest level. And it's not a suicide thing. It's not like, just you don't need this body, just what's the point of living kind of thing. But it's the egoic perspective versus accepting unitary consciousness. And for me to be enlightened, I need to fully accept it. I need to accept it completely. And there's no room in that scenario for an egoic perspective in that equation. So that's where the egoic perspective no longer exists. So from the ego's perspective, I need to accept death. But the body endures and it goes on and it does its thing until its time runs out. So I've gone about it like trying to accept my death, basically. It's like going to the finish line and just waiting there when there's a whole bunch of terrain in between where I am now and not that there's a finish line, but you know what I mean. And it's like I've been going to the end and working my way backwards, and there hasn't been that much like give in that situation. Instead of being where I am now and just simply moving along the path without looking toward the end, without, focusing on the end result. So, I've been kind of playing around with it on and off. It hasn't been really, my focus of my practice, but, it comes into view every once in a while, and, I'll entertain it and I'll play around with it. Looking back on it, it doesn't provide a lot of room for growth. So then about 2 weeks ago, I got a call that my father had passed away. He's technically my stepdad, but he raised me since I was 6. He's the only father I ever knew. Actually, I met my real dad. This channel is about me, so what the hell, I'll share a story about my own personal life. I met my real dad when I was 19, and 2 weeks before I met him, he ended up being put in jail for a coke possession. So I met my real father, my actual birth father. I met him behind the glass in a jail, talking to him on a phone. Anyway, so I got his call, my stepdad. Love my stepdad, an awesome guy. And he passed away. Like, I get to this place in my mind, and I do it with, like, not just death, but many things, where, like, I'm just accepting it. Just let it go. Just let it go, and if it's meant for me, it'll come back. And I've come to peace with a lot of things. Like, after I let them go the first couple times, and they come back, mentally, and they're still in my life physically, and it's like, okay, they're still there. So it's getting easier to just let these things go. And the things that no longer serve me, like my job, I was there 13 years, but when I let that go, that left, and that did not come back. But now it's like my dad is gone, and he's not coming back. And it just like ripped the lid off of this whole death thing. It's like what I've been searching for, doing it the routine, or doing it the way I've been looking at it, looking for like accepting my death without, or trying to do as little work from where I am now as possible. But unfortunately, it came with the passing of my stepdad. There's like different layers of ways that my mind is constructing the scenario playing out. It's like I'm grieving and I'm sad, but if I'm not on alert, it's like the ego will run away with it seems. Like there's like I can get to this place, it's like, fuck, why am I even, like mentally, why have I even let it get to this place? And then I'll snap out of it, and then it's like, oh, okay, like, fuck, I had a like I had a meditation, Eckhart Tolle meditation, and somebody asked him how to deal with the passing of a loved one, and he said, like, I think this was post-realization, he said, like, on one hand he's sad, and it comes in waves, and that's definitely the way it's been coming. Sometimes I'm good, and sometimes I just break down. He's like, but simultaneously, there's the understanding that we are all one, that we're all the same thing. And just, like, I can't say it eloquently like he did, it just resonated with me in such a way that, like, I got it. Like, I got it in a way that I hadn't yet previously understood it. So now it's like when I'm grieving, and I'll, like, break out into tears, I'll catch it, like, so fast, and it's almost like I don't know if I'm not allowing myself to grieve, or if I'm just not allowing the ego to play games, because it just seems to, if I let it go, it just unravels into this unnecessary long chain of thought, and it's like I miss him, and as soon as I have that thought, then there's this extra layer that, well, since I miss him, what do I miss about him? And then it's usually like, I'll never get to do this with him. Like, whatever, put in anything you want. And then that's where it just escalates into this story. And then it's almost like my grieving from that point. Like, if I'm grieving below that point, it seems genuine. But if I reach that point and then I continue on, it's almost like I can turn it off in a moment. Like, I can, like, just be heartbroken, and then I realize, what am I doing? And I just stop. And it's like just like pushing a button and turning it off, because it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't seem authentic. And I'm having, I would say, difficulty telling if it's authentic or not. Because on one hand, I should be allowed to grieve, which I totally get. Or on the other hand, I'm still on a path, and I'm still trying to understand death from this perspective. So as sad as it is, I'm not going to waste this opportunity to go deeper within myself. Since we're on the death subject, I do have a little bit of a story. Like, I've never lost anyone this close to me, so it seems so much more like it's more heartbroken than I've been. I remember when my great-grandpa passed away, and I had plans to do mushrooms with some friends, and I was hosting, and I found out that he passed away. I was like thinking, like, shit, man, I don't know if I'm in a good headspace or not. Like, I didn't really go into the pain, and I didn't, like, process it, I guess. But then I didn't want to cancel on my friends because I was hosting, so I'm like, okay, we'll go ahead with the mushrooms. And the first half of it wasn't like a medicinal thing, it was just us hanging out, we're watching a movie and talking and whatever. And the first half of the night was like, it was pleasant, and it was, like, funny. We were watching Pinocchio, and it was just like Pinocchio on mushrooms is funny. At least from what I remember. And then the energy just shifted, and, like, everyone kind of, like, became quiet. And then I can't say what other people were doing or what was going on in their mind, but for me it was like I was finally able to process and actually, like, be able to process losing him and the finality of it all. At the time I didn't think it was the right decision, but it was exactly what I needed. But that was a little side story. But anyway, his passing's got me thinking about death, and really, like, ripping the lid off, like, just how finite it is. Like, on one hand, it's infinite, but then on the other hand, all this could be over tomorrow from this point of view, from this perspective. And I'm not gonna speculate on what happens after death or anything like that. Anyway, those are some of the thoughts that I've been having. All right, glad I could share that with you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.